Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm making a video for a fella channel, one that I really like, a man that I really respect. His channel is called Practical Nurse. I'll leave a link to the description. But man's a nurse, registered nurse, and part of his profession is helping to save people's lives. He supports our rights. I think he's a great American. So I'm going to do this to help him. He had requested a basics of hand loading ammunition or reloading video because he's interested in maybe, reloading some ammunition for himself. So today I'm going to try to keep it as basic as I can. I'm going to use my son's just single stage press. That way I can show setting up the dies, resizing everything. But first thing you need to get before you hand load, just get some printed some printed data, for whatever cartridge you want to hand load, and read that. There's a lot of really good information in here, a lot of loads, see, and you can keep notes, for different, ammunition, that you decide to use. But there's a lot of good information in here. Also, when you buy a set of dies, I use Lee. They're usually less expensive, but I've had good luck with them. But they have instructions. They also have the dimensions of the cartridge that you're going to load for. So one thing that you will definitely want to have is just a basic little set of calipers. You can get these at your a similar pair at your local hardware store, but that way you can compare the case that you made to the specs of the case. What it calls for. It gives you the trim length and everything. But we're going to jump right into it to save time, and we're going to set up a die. So here is a full length sizer die, Lee brand. All right, this is a shell holder. Now, a shell holder is to hold your shell and the ram. There are different sizes of these depending on what cartridge you're loading for. So we're going to move, where you move the camera a little bit so you can see what's going on here. This will help. All right, so following our instructions, what it says to do, okay, here's your full-length sizer die. Hope you can see that. But it says to screw the full-length sizer die down until it touches the shell holder. Well, the only way it touches the shell holder is if you have the ram raised. This is the ram. So you run it down until it touches the shell holder. And then it says to give it to a quarter to a third of a turn more. So that means run it down. This is all fully extended. All right. So we have. So I'll give it a quarter of a turn. So this would be a quarter, roughly. And then I run my lock nut down and I lock it in place. I usually get mine I usually use a little wrench just to kind of lock it in place. That's not necessary. A lot of people say finger tight's fine. I like tools. I can't help it. All right, I lost my lube tray, but I'm going to use a little bit of this One Shot just for demonstration. This Hornady case lube. I'm going to lube this case up. Now, we're going to go ahead and try this. We're going to resize this case and at the same time knock the old primer out. So here we go. See, do you see the primer jump out? This is just kind of a generic setting, to size ammo that will function in a variety of firearms. All right. So let's look at our dimensions, while we're at it, and see if we need to trim the case. It says the maximum overall length of this case is 2.8 800 inches. We're measuring in thousands. So let's see if ours falls within that realm. I'm on 0 my scale. All right. That I read the. Okay, I read the overall length. Sorry, this is the case is supposed to be maximum trim length is 2 inches and 15 thousandths. So we're at 2 inches and 11 thousandths. What I read a while ago was the maximum overall length with a seated bullet. You know, is not to exceed 2 inches 800 thousandths. Sorry about that. All right, so we have a case that doesn't need to be trimmed. All right, but however, it's a good idea to go ahead and chamfer the case. You know, you chamfer it, and that gets any burrs or nicks, and it makes it a little bit easier to seat your bullet. I also have, there it is. Pardon me. I also have this little primer pocket cleaner. All right. Now, there's several different ways to prime a case. You can actually, on my other press that I normally use over there, you can actually prime off the press. I use this, just a Lee Auto Prime. I kind of like it, you know, because of the feel. You know, I can kind of tell what I have. But see, I just pressed a primer in there. You can check. You can set it down, see if make sure it sits flat. Give it the old rock test. Good to go. All right. Get a sip of my coffee. I love, my wife and I was on vacation. We got some coffee for the hotel room, and I went out and picked it up at just down at a local, you know, store. I was in Florida, and I wanted to try the Dunkin' Donuts French vanilla, just see how I liked it, and I love it. So I was having some of that this morning. Here's some of the bullets I have been using. Nothing fancy about them. And these are some dummy cartridges I use, you know, for cycling, you know, to make sure that you know, my overall length and all would fit my rifle. But here's a bullet, regular old, you know, flat base, 150 grain, nothing special. I've got a bunch of boat tails that I'm going to use, but that's a different topic for a different day. All right. Now let me put my dummy cartridge up. All right. So we have a prepped case. The next thing that we're going to have to do is add powder. So here's what we got. This is a powder that I'm using. You can use whatever powder you like. But I'm going to go ahead and use my powder hopper, not my son's. I'm just using my son's to demonstrate the dies. But you can get a powder hopper. Now, when you buy a set of dies, they're going to come with some little scoops, and those are fine. You know, if you use the data that they recommend. But I'm going to pour up a charge. All right, of my powder. And I'm going to find my loading data. I know what I'm going for. Let's see. I'm using Sierra bullets. I'm using 150 grain. All right. Let's see. And I'm using H380 powder. And what I'm using is actually a 46 grain charge. This is 46.7, but this is pretty much what they call a starting load. And this, if you do this, not a starting load. I'm using right here. I'm using a fairly warm load, sorry. 46 grains of H380. I've tried this in my rifle. It works well in my rifle. Don't try this in your rifle. Start at the beginning. You could blow your rifle up. You never know. So, I'm going to have to move the camera to show you what I'm doing now. And let me put a little bit of powder in my trickler too. Alright. So, now I poured up some powder with my hopper. Now I'm at my scale. My scales are zeroed and I'm wanting a 46 grain charge. So, 10, 20, 30, 40. That's 40 right there. Alright, now this will be 45. And if I'm wanting a 46 grain, each 10th of a grain right here, it's 40. Well, that's 45. I'm gonna go 46. All right, and that did not do it. So I'm gonna increase the powder until it does. Using my trickler, which I should have already had this filled. I had all this set for a different loading. I'm just making these just to, let me pause till I get this. All right, I'm back at it. All right, I got everything set. So what I'm doing now, I'm just trickling it. You don't have to do this every time. Just when you're setting up your load, this is what I do. But until I get the weight that I want, and this scale was way off. My powder hopper was way off because I was loading something else. I just come up with this. See, when that zeros, which I had already previously zeroed my scale, I have my powder charge. Okay, now I got my powder charge. I keep all my cases in a little block. I like that. But I got my powder charge. Here's a powder funnel made to fit over a bullet. Now you can do it right off your hopper. It's just the way I do it. Everybody's gonna have their own little tricks and techniques and ways of doing things. All right, so we have a case that's been primed, or resized, reprimed, and now it's charged. So this case is ready. So now what that tells me is that we're going to need a bullet seating die. So we'll remove, which you could do this like you can make a whole bunch of these and then you move to the next step. We're just doing one just for demonstrational purposes. All right, so let's look at Lee's bullet seating die recommendations. All right, bullet seating die. It says to screw the bullet seating die until you feel it touch Screw the bullet seating die until you feel it touch your case mouth. If no crimp is desired, back the die out a quarter of a turn. So, well, Lord, that changes things. So, alrighty. So that tells me we're going to need a case. Let's resize another case. Alright, here we go. I screwed that up. I already got powder in that case, so I can't do it. Alright, here we go. Make sure everything's set just right. Screw it in until it touches, quarter turn, lock it down. We're going to size another case just to set up. This is not that complicated, just I am not that great at it. We're going to set up another case. I hate that little button that's in the way on this one. Alright, here we go. Let's just size another case, and then we'll use it to set our bullet seating die. Okay, here goes another case. Just like I did earlier. Okay, kick the primer out. Here it is. Looking good. We're gonna mic it and see if we like it. Alright. Well, I mic'd it and I like it. It's within 2 thousandths of that last case. So, we're going to proceed with our rat killing, see what we can do. Alright, back on the die. I'm going to go ahead and remove this one. Alright. Okay, here you go, Practical Nurse, for the bullet seating die. It says screw the bullet seating die until you feel it touch the case mouth. If no crimp is desired, we're not crimping today. Alright. Let's see, it says until you feel it touch the case mouth. So here we go. I'll go ahead and make sure we have a case mouth. There we go. Run it on up in there. Here's our bullet seating die. Alright, screw that down until I feel it touch the case mouth. Well, I could have swore I just... I'm about as sensitive as a hammer now. Alright, I feel it touch the case mouth right there. Alright. It says, if no crimp is desired, which in this case no crimp is desired, back the die out a half a turn. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to back the die out a half a turn. Alright, and I'm going to lock her down. Here we go. Alright. Now, here's what I do. It may be different than some people. I go ahead and I back that bullet seating stem out. You know, because ain't no telling what it was set on prior to that. I go ahead and set it, take it out, and here's that case that we put powder in and everything. I take a little flashlight, which, by the way, I'm not trying to sell nothing for them, but these little Steamlight Stylus Pros are outstanding. But you can look, see that you got powder. Alright, I go ahead and I put my prime case in here. I'm going to take the dummy case out. Alright, I've got my projectile right here. Alright, and I know what length, see, it's a different set of dies I've been using. I know what length I'm wanting on my bullet. So I'm going to make sure, well, that didn't even work. Alright. Alright. I'm going to let her get her started a little bit. I had it backed all the way out. Okay, I know that I'm wanting a, now don't copy this, do your own work. I'm wanting a maximum length of, see, like what it says right here, it's telling you that your maximum length should be 2.82 inches and 800 thousandths. Well, on my particular rifle, I like 2 inches and 777 thousandths. So that's what I'm striving for. So I'm going to work this down in increments. Once you get it worked down, you can lock it down where you got it. So I'm going for 2.777. All right, I'm at 2.946. That means I gotta bring it down some more. All right, here we go. 2.946. All right. 2.898, getting there. Still a little bit long. And it just, I mean, once you get all your dies and everything set the way that you want them, you don't have to do this anymore. It's just setting up your dies. That way, like if you get a set of dies and you want to make some ammo, this is the way you do it. So, you'll feel it, you know, pushing that bullet in a little bit at a time. 2.833, I'm getting there. There we go. There we go. Now 2.777, my project, 2.814, I'm almost to an acceptable, length. All right. When you're dealing in thousandths, it don't take much. Okay, this right here would be what they would call, well, almost. It's like 5 thousandths out. An acceptable case. This is 2.797 thousandths. I'm gonna try to bring it down just a little bit more because I know what my rifle shoots. I'm going for 2.777, and that ain't much. 2.791. I gave a little bit more of a turn right there than I wanted. .782. Now I got to get real careful. Baby turns. Till I figure out what I want. 2.779. I'm going to be brave and give it just, a fraction of a turn. It don't take much. .777 or 2.7. I'm within a thousandths. I am right on it. That is exactly what I want. Now, in the interest of your rifle, whatever rifle that you're loading for, you need to have it handy. I took my firing pin out for all the safety nannies out there. I'm not doing anything unsafe. So, this rifle couldn't fire it because I have no firing pin. I'm going to cycle this cartridge through my action and make sure that it'll function, it'll chamber. It does just fine. And it extracts. Yeah, there we go. So, that's the way you do it. I'm sorry this video got so long. Let me readjust the camera. Sorry this video was so long. It takes a while to show how to do this, but Practical Nerds, I just want to let you know I'm going to put a link to your channel. I appreciate you. I respect you. And I kept my word. If you get into hand loading anytime that you are reloading, anytime you have a question of any kind, feel free to ask me, and I'm sure there's several other members on our YouTube gun channel or gun channel community that would also be glad to help. But God bless you, and have a wonderful weekend.